What's up guys, my name is Ace, and just this morning Sledgehammer released an update that thankfully addressed the bloom or aim down sight spread in this game, and it actually quite noticeably improved it on every gun in the game that I've tested at least, which is pretty much all of the primaries aside from sniper rifles. Additionally, there was a nerf to shotguns, it seems like across the board, and I'll be sharing a little bit of details on that, but unfortunately I didn't have much pre-patch testing to compare it to, so the primary focus of today's video is the bloom adjustment. And just to recap, bloom is aim down sight spread, or essentially random inaccuracy with your gun. So when you pull the trigger, the bullet doesn't necessarily go directly where you're aiming. And before this patch, some of the deviation that we were seeing was ridiculous, like so far from even close to being realistic. And the only way to really deal with this aim down sight spread is to put attachments on your gun that improve the accuracy stat. This is the stat that will tighten up your aim down sight spread. And now that we have that out of the way, let's have a look at our before and after comparisons here, starting it off with the assault rifles. As you can see, across the board, every single one of the assault rifles improved, but the big standouts here are obviously going to be the AS-44 and the Volkssturmgewehr, because these were terrible when it came to aim down sight spread. I did get a lot of comments on my previous bloom video saying that this is realistic. At 33 meters, this isn't even remotely close to being realistic for any gun that has a rifled barrel at least, unless something is seriously wrong with your rifle. But after this update, you can see they have tightened those up pretty considerably. I mean, if you're really stretching the ranges out though to like 100 meters or something, you are absolutely still going to be missing shots that otherwise would have been on target with those guns. So they are still going to be limited at extremely long ranges, but at least they're going to be much more consistent at closer to mid ranges. Now I actually managed to do the exact testing on this, and it looks like they reduced bloom across the board by 60% for all of the guns in the game that had bloom. But let's move on to the SMG category. And as you can see here, quite a similar story. It's a 60% reduction of bloom across the board. And this means these guns are going to be far more consistent now in those close to mid-range gunfights. Again, with some of them like the PPSH or the Thompson, if you really try to stretch it out, you could still potentially be missing shots due to this random inaccuracy, but it's going to be significantly better than it was before this update. After that, we have LMGs, and even pre-patch, the LMGs really weren't that bad when it came to aim down sight spread, but now they're of course even better. And then finally, we have the Marksman rifles, and once again, like these were already really good before the patch. Now they are a little bit better, but it's hard to even tell the difference at 33 meters since they were already so accurate. So that's a bloom adjustment, and like I said, I did measure these. It looks like it was a 60% reduction across the board for all of the guns in the game. And this is excellent news. I personally still don't like the bloom mechanic at all for regular full auto guns in this game. I don't think it really fits in Call of Duty, and there are plenty of excellent alternatives for keeping a gun in check at longer range if you want to do that, which is presumably why they want this bloom to be there, is to make sure that certain guns aren't going to be too effective at longer ranges. But in my opinion, instead of bloom, which is completely random and out of your control in a gunfight, they could have increased idle sway, they could have increased the amount of recoil that you experience with the gun, they could have reduced the bullet velocity on that gun, or they could have even added an extra damage drop-off range so it deals even less damage at extremely long ranges. With all of these options I just listed, this gives the player agency over their gunfights. They can see what's happening. They can see when recoil takes place, that's why they're missing their shots is due to recoil. Whereas with this random bullet deviation, there's no way of seeing that, and a player can be 100% perfectly on target and yet still miss, which is just a really frustrating and jarring experience that I don't feel fits in Call of Duty. If a player does everything right, they should be rewarded for it, not punished for it. So that's the bloom adjustment. Now let's just briefly talk about the shotguns. Like I said, I didn't have a bunch of pre-patch testing with shotguns or even pre-patch experience using shotguns. However, they did say that there was a balance pass on all of the shotguns that affected your range, your pellet spread, hip fire penalty, and more. And the little bit of testing that I did have was with this particular shotgun setup here. And with this pre-patch, you could get a 1 pellet kill out to 7 meters with this gun. Not 1 shot kill, 1 pellet kill. And that means you don't even have to have the enemy centered perfectly in your screen. You could just shoot somewhere in the general vicinity of them, and you were basically guaranteed to get a kill as long as you close that range. Now, with this exact setup, it seems like the range is basically the same. It's still about 7 meters for your 1-shot kill potential while hip firing. However, it's no longer nearly as forgiving. You will be getting a hit marker if you aren't hitting a bunch of pellets, it seems. It's not like they just made it take 2 pellets now. It seems like you have to hit at least like 4 or 5 pellets to get a one-shot kill at this range. And that is at least a good start. I don't have enough playtime and experience yet after this patch to really give much of an opinion as far as the rest of the shotguns go. But I like that they at least made it so you have to be slightly more accurate if you want to get those really consistent one-shot kills. Now on top of this, they did fix a bunch of stuff on the back end, so like weapon challenges, the search and destroy bomb glitch that was going on. There was a gung-ho sprint speed shooting glitch. That one has been resolved, so you could actually get tac sprint shooting speed if you're using gung-ho and the auto tac sprint setting. That has been taken care of. There was also a bug where enemies using the armor field upgrade would sometimes get 10 times the amount of armor that they were supposed to get. And yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for everything I wanted to mention from today's patch. Of course, I want to hear from you guys in the comment section below. What did you guys think about this update? What do you think about the improved bloom here by 60%? Was that enough, or do you want to see more done to that? And what do you think of the shotguns, especially if you guys have actually been playing and experiencing these shotguns since this update? Do you really feel like they changed enough, or would you like to see more done to them? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.